Where do I put this?
My job is contribute. I mean, a part of Green Ledge is also we got our name.
We'll get started in just a little bit.
This is our time. Absolutely.
Hi everybody who's watching. We're going to get started in just a little bit. I know. People in the room are looking at me like I'm crazy. No. Yes, I am. We're going to get started in just a little bit.
I'm glad to see you. You guys are still doing your thing. So.
Wow, we have 23 people watching already. 26 people watching. Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna get started in like 3 minutes. Three. I'm gonna move this chair.
Yep, that's it. It's a test of how bad you want to make this happen. It really is. Yeah, but it's good because I mean we're all you're in company, so your company we're all cool.
Give me hearts if you can see that. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear okay? Anybody? Are you watching? Give me hearts if you can. Check. Hello? Are you guys there? Alright, well we're just going to assume that you can hear me. Oops. Can you guys hear? Can I get some feedback? Can you hear? Hello? Alright, I'm going to turn you back around.
It's almost done. I can't wait because I'm going to just collapse and cry when the money comes out. We're all great. Okay, we'll get started. Glad to reconnect with you both, okay? Let me just shut this off. What's that? Yeah. Every time. So, GDC has got a lot of feedback on all the left issues. We've had people come up who are like industry professionals and go, you know what I mean? I don't see what we wouldn't have gotten out of it. You know, and stuff. So. All right. Grab your chairs, guys. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gabriel. Hello. I'm Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel. What's up, guys? Everyone good this evening? Excellent. Yeah. One loud person. This is me. Yes, love it. So thank you all for being here on Wednesday, hump day evening. So we are here in Elk Grove at Elk Grove, California. Hi there, those watching online. So the camera lady. So we're going to be spending an evening talking with two awesome studios that I reconnected with one out of the blue, which was phenomenal, and one that has actually known you for 3+ years already. How time has flown. And we're going to be talking. So we're going to be talking about why Kickstarter is awesome / why Kickstarter sucks. So things like that, or that's my translation of it. But all jokes aside, it's going to be talking about the pros and cons of Kickstarter, of crowdfunding in general, what went right, what went wrong, and what next. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. It's something we haven't really we touched upon it on different chapter meetings, but we haven't really explored it, more in depth. But tonight we're going to be able to do that. And it is my honor to say hi to my man Rob from Orange Lounge Radio. He will be moderating this session tonight, so AKA my muzzle, because I will throw 1.5 million questions. So he's going to keep me in control, which is great. So, quick thing about Orange Lounge Radio, longest running station, podcast, Sacramento, 13 years?
15 years.
15 years.
I started when I was 11. Can you believe that?
You're 26? What? That's awesome. Love it. So it's an absolute honor to have Rob here moderating tonight's session. Thank you, definitely, because we all have our day jobs, and it's like, we do this because we love what we're doing. So, we'd love to see the success come from this, and this is why tonight is one very important night to gather that information. Because we're an intimate crowd, small, no massive thing, which I'm definitely okay with. Rob will break it down more, but
well, there could be like 500 people on
there could be, there absolutely can be. So
Yes. There were 42 at one point.
So any questions from you guys? Rob will be asking questions. We'll just kind of no crazy. Just ask the questions. Just keep it nice and simple. But yes. Hi.
If she's doing it online, Nick and Kelly could make it.
Okay.
What website or how are you streaming it?
Nick's watching.
So cool. So for those online who have a question, shoot a question to us either on Twitter, IGDA_Sacramento, or if you're in you're streaming through Periscope, right?
Yes.
So if you're in the chat room on Periscope, throw a question up there. We'll see if we can be able to touch upon that. Okay.
Just filter out the people that tell me to delete my account. And just keep it to the questions that are actually relevant.
You got it.
Yeah. Relevant questions only. Don't be a weird nerd. Okay. So cool. All right. Rob.
You know, Emma on that. Don't be a weird nerd.
Don't be a weird. How not to be a weird nerd? We should totally explore that.
Not that anybody here needs that information. That would be a Periscope exclusive.
Rob, sir, I'll let you take it over from here.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. As Gabe said, I am Rob Roberts. I am the co-host of actually several podcasts. Orange Lounge Radio is probably my most well-known because, as Gabe said, I've been running that co-hosting out my pals Jamie and Loki for 15 years next year. And that is a part of a network of podcasts called VOG Network, which is my website, vognetwork.com, which I co-administer with my buddy in Georgia and some other podcast fans, where we host all sorts of podcasts on video gaming and movies and anime, and I'm trying to think what's on today. We got, I don't know if anything is running right now. Maybe Electric Sisterhood just finished. Two sisters out of Boston that are great. They do a show on video games. But anyway, we have a diverse amount of stuff on our network. But we're all indie. We're independent on our network, and I've been doing this indie for 15 years, so I think it's really important as indie broadcasters to support indie games. And I have to admit, I don't. It's totally right? I don't. And this is phenomenal. Having done this for 15 years, I've been able to really kind of watch things like change in front of my eyes over the past 15 years. I don't think we'd be having a conversation like this in the PlayStation 2 era when you couldn't self-publish. You couldn't even really self-publish in the PlayStation 2 era, I guess on PC. But that's when you have to put out something to shareware and hope that people are interested in it to buy the other episodes, right? But my, how times have changed. Today we're going to talk about crowdsourcing. So I'll stop promoting myself and talking about myself because it's really about these guys tonight and you guys as well, that are interested in crowdfunding as well. Quick poll of the audience. I don't have a ton of people here. Bree, why don't you wave frantically if a lot of hearts come in on Periscope or something, okay? So how many people here are making a game? Okay, awesome. We got a lot of people making a game. How many people have all the money they need to make their game? What? So I'm thinking some of you out there today are exploring the options because making games costs money, right? People like to get paid. Artists, musicians, people want to get paid for art. They do. They deserve to. So it's it can be a challenge sometimes to get people paid. So that's why we've looked to some of these solutions like crowdfunding And who knows what else we might discover tonight as ways to fund those necessary components of the game. So let's meet our panelists. I'm going to go down the line. Tell me a little bit about you, your studio, your game.
Well, I am Jeremiah Ingham, and I have the company Arclight Worlds, and I'm creating a game called Venture Forth, and it's essentially a first-person exploration game set in deep caverns, and it kind of takes some inspiration from like Castlevania and that genre, and so, you know, it has some similarities to like Zelda and stuff like that.
This would be the pre-crazy Konami Castlevania that we all know about, right?
Yeah, the one, what was that, PS2?
The Symphony of the Night?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the greatest one they
Symphony of the
ever
Night.
did?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's a good game to follow you stuff after. All right, awesome.
I'm James Turnage. So I'm with Skirmish Entertainment, and we're working on 2 games. About to finish up one now. And I'll let Joe kind of explain about the company, but I'm the lead level designer and also kind of manage the social media stuff as well.
All right, so that's me. I'm Joe Bussey. I'm the president and founder of Skirmish Entertainment. We have been a company produced since March. We're currently making End of the Mine. We just finished releasing Endless Mine, which is a concurrent mobile app, which is the same theme but different game altogether. So it's been a lot of stress, but a lot of work, and it's worth it though. So yeah. All right, I'll answer any questions. I can go to the company and they'll answer questions.
All right, sounds good. So we're here to talk about crowdfunding tonight, so let's talk about what your experience has been with crowdfunding. Let's just cut right to the chase, get out there. What has your experience been with crowdfunding for your company? Jeremiah?
So we did a Kickstarter a little over a year ago. I think it was last April. Not this April, but the last April. We were actually not successful, so we didn't get the money that we needed from that, but I was lucky enough to still be able to get the funds I needed from personal sources, so I got really, really lucky there. But we did run a Kickstarter, and we did put a lot of work into it, and definitely did a little bit of analysis afterwards, why it didn't work.
Well, what was the analysis? What was the reason that you think you came up with?
So I think in general it hinges around how professional you look, which I was actually talking to them about it. And so, like, I am the main designer and programmer for the game and the main force behind it. And so I kind of enter from a technical aspect rather than an artistic aspect. And so it's more difficult for me to showcase the game looking good, because I'm not an artist, I'm a technical person. And so I think if I were to run another Kickstarter, I would put a lot more effort into creating visuals that look really professional. Because just going out there and saying, this is what it is right now, it's not quite done yet, it's not enough. You need to be able to show like exactly what it's going to look like when you are done. Because they can't just imagine themselves.
Do you worry sometimes with wanting to present the visuals up front and show a little bit more of that? One thing that pops into my mind, just because it's something we've been talking about lately, is the controversy around. Now, this isn't an indie game; and they weren't crowdfunded, but y'all heard of No Man's Sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that are going on with that. And essentially, what did they just say today? That the British are going to investigate them?
Yeah,
over
someone filed a
they
complaint.
promise too much.
Well, they overcompensated false advertising, and now they're sad. Now the Brits are sad.
They got time for that with Brexit?
Well, I was like, first it was Brexit, now it's No Man's Lie, apparently.
Okay, but I mean, in all seriousness, and I screw the haters. I like No Man's Sky. I also didn't get all into the hype and all that stuff. But there was the pre-rendered. We've all experienced that with games, like the pre-rendered cutscenes, and so where do you think you kind of have to find that balance?
Well, I think that's the whole dichotomy of doing a Kickstarter like this, because when you run the campaign, when you are successful, it's your job to actually come through and provide what you say you're going to provide, which is kind of like at the heart of a lot of the controversy around Kickstarter. Is a lot of these projects that get funded don't end up actually doing what they say they're going to do. And so essentially when you're running the Kickstarter, it's your job to show your backers what you're going to provide and also convince them that you're actually going to follow through to do it. So,
Sure. You're talking about end product, correct? Not just the perks? Or are you talking about
yeah, the final product. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, not just perks.
Absolutely. For many people, I think the main perk, at least I know when I've backed a lot of Kickstarters that I've done, the perk is the product, right?
Yeah.
That's usually the easiest thing to put on your rewards list, right? One copy of game, right? And I think that's probably the incentive for most people to actually pitch in is like, oh, I'm going to get my guaranteed copy of this game. Let's move on down the line and talk about the experience with Skirmish Entertainment and what you guys went through with crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to go into to tag on to the last part of what you were talking about there was, you know, when you're telling people what you're going to make, and then, oh man, where was I going? I totally lost my train of thought. So I was holding on to the idea.
That's okay. Representation. We talked about the No Man's Sky stuff and how to present yourself.
Oh yeah. So I was going to say a lot of the hard part is also people want to fund a game. They don't want to fund a game that's already been created. So at the same time, you have to be able to put stuff that's professional on your page, but you also can't put a final product that people it's already done. What are we funding? So then you have to find that medium of putting professional art up, putting in gameplay that they could see and like, and then it's like, how far are you into this product, you know, before, and asking for money at the same time. I thought that was...
You know, what's interesting, though, I think I heard a story really recently, like within the past week, that somebody was going to Kickstarter, one of those sources, maybe I don't remember what it was, but they did have a finished game, and they were actually looking for crowdfunding, I think either to put more money into the publishing of it, sounds right? Or, what's that?
Torment 2 did that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's almost like they were extorting the game.
Yeah, I get the impression that going in with an almost complete product is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right, and I guess that depends too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how you present it.
Right. Totally agree.
And what you're asking for. Like, what is the money that this funding is going to?
So did you guys go through Kickstarter as well, or what,
Yeah.
what was your approach?
Yeah, we went through Kickstarter. We actually did 2 Kickstarters. The first one we did was unsuccessful, and it was just because we honestly didn't really understand or kind of get all that was necessary to be successful. And so I like to say that we were kind of lucky to be unsuccessful for that one, because by the time we did our second one, we took everything that we learned what not to do for that Kickstarter, and we looked at a whole bunch of other kind of successful Kickstarters and just took all that information, did a lot of research, and then we were able to make our second Kickstarter, and we were able to be successful, which was awesome. So yeah, we've definitely learned a lot.
So since we're all here to learn from you, what were some of those things that got on your list of, I wish I didn't do that first time?
Well, one of the big things was making your Kickstarter look flashy. Like, one of the big things that we learned was that you want to sell your Kickstarter. That's what people, like when they come to your page and they see it, and they see this awesome game, you're not only selling your game, you're selling everything about your Kickstarter. You're selling everything about like what you're offering, and kind of you're telling everyone where it is, like your money's going, if you're to get funded, where that money's going to go towards. And so, like with our first Kickstarter, I don't think we had.
I think we went more towards the game, and that kind of seems natural, go towards the game, present the game. But what the research we did, it was sell your Kickstarter. It needs to be flashy. It needs to have little gifts. It needs to have lights. It needs to have little moving things. It needs to look like you have the funding of a larger company. And when you do that, so in a sense for us indie people, we have to put so much effort and time into that versus continuing to work on the game. I think that's what pushed it for us the second time. I think is that we added extra nice borders with stuff hanging out over the edges and like electricity things and just making it super flashy.
A few gifts made all the difference?
I would say not all of it, but I mean it definitely helped a lot because if you look at some of the big name games that went through Kickstarter, like Shovel Knight, if you look at their Kickstarter or some of just anyone that was successful, they all were very kind of just flashy and had a lot going for it. And if you look at the Kickstarters that weren't as successful, they didn't have it just didn't look like they put enough effort into making their Kickstarter.
And Shovel Knight's just kind of like Shovel Knight, I think, is like a model Kickstarter. But me personally, from the outside looking in, I think Shovel Knight's like really like a model Kickstarter of a group that really delivered on the product that they said they were going to make. You know, Shovel Knight is like super cute, like, you know, in little pictures of Shovel Knight. And you know what? Like, it's almost like you're putting a picture of a puppy up there, and like, you know, if you don't fund us, this puppy ain't gonna make it.
This pixelated puppy
Well,
in
you don't wanna say
HD.
that. You don't want to say that, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I guess you're right. Like people like something they can kind of like maybe latch onto, like a mascot, a character, music, something.
I would say, you know, because it's funny, even in Shovel Knight, like if you scroll down, it's pixelated, but they have a little pixelated bouncing little flower, and you're like, oh, that's cute. And it looks like they have enough resources and time and money to put into this Kickstarter. Well, of course they can deliver on the product. Maybe is the mentality. I don't know, but it's definitely a challenge, and it's constant updating, rewording things, not being so long-winded, like shrink it down, you know, and be concise. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, did you use a lot of the same like contacts that you did the first time around when you did this the second time? Did you change anything with that approach, or did you kind of go to the same places? If that makes sense.
So we expand. Are you talking about like in terms of kind of reaching out to people?
Yeah.
So yeah, we totally expanded that. During the first time, I think a majority of it was just like friends and family. We were reaching out to friends and family. We did some social media, but at that point, I mean, we were so new that nobody knew who we were, and it was really hard to get recognition. And so by the time we did the second one, we had more work done on the game, and so we had more to show. And some of the people that followed us from the first Kickstarter ended up, you know, coming back into the second one. And just we visited tons of websites. We sent out hundreds of emails to all sorts of video game websites, and I was on Reddit. Even though I don't personally do Reddit myself, but you just have to learn like all the popular social media stuff. Like you just got to go on it. And Reddit was very helpful because there's a ton of different like threads on there that you can go to people and ask questions there. And that's what we did. We asked questions on like how to be successful, you know, how to put up a successful Kickstarter, and we got people to respond to that, and we implemented some of what they were saying. But also, it's also a place that you can go and promote yourself. Like they have special threads where you can promote yourself, and you know, thousands of people are on Reddit. You know, hundreds of thousands of people are on Reddit every day. So, I mean, that's a great source. Also, Twitter. You know, using the indie dev, game dev hashtags that helps a lot. Just because everyone on Twitter, like anyone who's a game dev, use those hashtags, so everyone's seeing that.
I think promoting yourself is, as he just mentioned, a full-time job. If you're not promoting yourself almost 24 hours a day after you've launched a Kickstarter, you're doing it wrong. Like,
Yes, I'm also the level designer, so I was making all the levels in End of the Mind. But there was a moment when we were doing our Kickstarter where I had to just stop making the levels and focus on social media. Like I just couldn't do both at the same time just because it was just too much.
So if you're going to go to Kickstarter, it sounds like you have to really plan, like in the development of your game and the deadlines you're going to be promising people and all this, that, oh, everything is going to come to a complete stop, or well, maybe not a complete stop, but, you know, things are going to be on hold while we're running this Kickstarter because that's where the focus is going.
Yeah, if you don't have if you don't have a dedicated person to kind of really dedicate themselves to doing social media and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree. While you're running your Kickstarter, that is all you're doing. That is where all of your effort's going.
Well, tell me a little more about your experience with how you promoted. How did you choose to promote what you were doing?
So the main ways that we reached out to people was by contacting YouTubers and Twitch streamers and getting them to create videos that then all of their followers follow. And so I think in general that's one of the best ways to get advertisement.
Indie devs working with indie media. I like it.
Yeah. And then, like they were saying, social media can definitely be really helpful. I would say that it wasn't as helpful for me because I didn't have like a whole lot of Twitter followers or that sort of thing. And I feel like for it to really make a difference, which it really can, you need a lot of followers. Like if you have thousands of Twitter followers, that's huge. But it takes a long time to build that sort of thing up.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you Yeah, like I'm sure all of you have heard this if you're interested in Kickstarter. You should be preparing for it, announcing it on your social medias and all those different avenues, like 4 to 6 months before you even consider launching your Kickstarter. So.
Hey, I have a question. I actually have a question. You guys were talking earlier about the different social media channels that you guys were utilizing. One of the big issues are the trolls, the fear of the trolls, and who's going to say the wrong thing. When all you're trying to do is get your game out there. What do you? And I asked this to all three of you guys. What was your way to overcome that fear? Because there are a lot of, and Rob, you and I can.
I have my own advice for that. I'm gonna let them talk.
Yeah. But yeah, how would one who's very shy, and it took a lot for them to even have the confidence to believe in themselves that their game is good, that there's something special about it. What do you guys, and even Rob, I'll ask you too.
All I'm going to say is for every person that hates on your game, it just tips back on the other side of it. There's going to be someone who loves your idea and loves what you're doing. So I say focus more on the people that are enjoying what you're doing, and focus less on the people that are hating on whatever you're doing, just because they might be, I don't know, going through a rough day, or they're just saying all these things because they don't have the skills, or they don't have
industry knowledge either about what it takes to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Just no matter what you're doing, there's always going to be trolls, and you can't take it personally. Like, just don't worry about it. I know it can be a lot harder in practice than just saying that, but they're always going to be there, and you can't take it personally.
Definitely.
I remember the other day I went to the office and there was a message on some phone. Anyways, and it was like, this looks like effing crap, blah, blah, blah. But there was also another comment that was beautiful. So it's like you just either delete, or if you're bold, just leave it. But it's up to you. It depends on how you want to operate, you know what I mean?
that. It's always hard to, when you get those messages, to just kind of get over it, because it's something that you're working on. You're putting so much time and effort into. And if you have just one person that doesn't like it, it seems like that's just it just really gets to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you're always going to have somebody that doesn't like what you do.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to learn to get over it.
I mean, it's kind of a natural human. It's kind of naturally human to latch onto the negative comments and focus more on them, and you kind of just have to psychologically fight that.
I take the Oprah approach. You get a block, and you get a block. All get blocked.
Everyone gets deleted.
It also depends. In all seriousness, it also depends on the severity of it. The absolute gutter trash stuff, block. Don't even think about it. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, thanks for giving me 15 seconds of your time, because that took 2 seconds of mine to block.
Right.
But when you get constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that is almost more valuable than the fans in some ways. I hate to say that. It sounds really, but that's really what's going to make it even better. Like what you're doing, the constructive feedback. I had a great piece of advice one time, and I would assume this applies very much on your world as well as mine, because I can tell you as well as a podcaster, it's hard. Just like you guys said, it's hard to stick out on Kickstarter. It's hard to stick out in the iTunes store. Like you can't just rely on the iTunes store to get your listens, right? Mm-hmm. So a really good piece of advice I got once is, if one person tells you it's bad, don't waste your time thinking about it again. If 2 people tell you it's bad, you might want to consider that. If 3 people tell you it's bad, change it.
Mm.
Well, I think it depends on your sample size.
Yeah, it depends on if you're talking
True. If there's 1,000 people and 3 of them,
there's going to be a handful of people that just.
Or if it's 3 handles of the same person.
It might also depend on the elements of it. Obviously, every situation is different. Obviously, but Anyway,
Awesome.
Gosh, where were we? Let's talk a little bit about. Okay, so I know what I wanted to ask, because you said that you ended up getting your funding. You kind of looked at alternative methods and personal resources and so forth. Kind of hearing what's happening with Skirmish. Do you think that if you let's say you hadn't had that personal thing come through, do you think you would have tried a second time on Kickstarter?
Okay. That's a good question. Gosh. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, it's not a
It's-
situation you had to think about. I
Right.
guess, so.
I mean, running a Kickstarter is definitely a huge, huge task, and I mean, I myself, I'm not a publisher, I'm not a marketer, I'm not very good at selling, and I've been working with another company, Indie Voyage, which is also kind of a startup. Essentially, I'm working with the two co-founders, and they've been the ones primarily helping me through that process, and so I would look to a lot of their guidance. I would probably wait at least a few months and touch up a few of the parts of my game that got the most comments on for improvement, and then do more work on the art that we present. So go from there.
Okay.
And so I might.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a fair answer. What you wanted to...
So, my recommendation would be to do it twice, do it 3 times. There's a lot of people who aren't successful the first time, but every time you do one, everybody who backs you, you get their email address, and you get all these contacts. So if you only get like 40 people the first time, you know, they're already backed you once, and if they see you're persistent with it, they'll probably back you again. So you already, right off the bat, will have a much larger, faster increase of money the second time you do it than you did the first time you do it.
Yeah, I guess that's actually a good point. Because from my point of view, which you know, I might be wrong, but I kind of was under the impression of if we did another Kickstarter, having failed a Kickstarter already, we'll have the reputation of, oh, well, they didn't make it before, why are they going to make it now? And so it was kind of like, I was kind of looking at it as like a negative hit on my record. And so if I do it again, you know, are they going to take me seriously this time? I don't know.
That was a concern that we had as well.
Yeah. Did that not turn out to really be a
No,
problem?
no, and it's also how you present yourself with the second time around. Let them know, hey, yeah, we weren't successful this first time around, but we learned so much, and we felt like we could do better this next time. And so it's just all about how you present yourself, I think.
I think so.
I think that's a good point. It's all about how you approach it.
In your title, you know, say relaunch, when you're having your video, mention that, you know, we already did this, we're super interested in what we're doing, and we love what we're doing, and we're convinced that we can create something you guys will love. So we're giving it another go, and you know, please back us kind of thing. You know, I think if you're persistent, but definitely humble, but at the same time confident, you know what I mean, in what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you show, I was just going to say, and if you show that you've made improvements onto your second Kickstarter, people are going to see that. You know, like I said with our first one, it didn't have all the flashy gifts or whatever, but we took the time to really study successful Kickstarters, and we made the second one. We put so much more effort into that second one, and if people see that, they're not going to be like, oh, you're trying to do this again even though you failed. They're going to see, oh, you are persistent, you're motivated, you're trying to do this again, and we can see that you are motivated because of all the work that you're doing.
I would say noticeably revamp it. Bring your A game a second time. Better, you know.
The question I had, because Kickstarter, if you don't make it, you don't get paid.
Yeah,
you don't lose money. On Indiegogo, however, if you don't make it, you get
You get the money anyway.
but you get some money.
Right.
Do you think that would apply to the Indiegogo platform as well?
I would not recommend a second go at Indiegogo. If you already got their money once, they'll be like, yeah, probably. That's I'm not. I didn't.
Emails again to.
I didn't do Indiegogo, so I'm not 100% like able to talk on the concept. But what I understood was that from the little bit of research I did on it was that you already got their money because you get the money from Indiegogo. I wouldn't recommend doing it again.
It just, again, I don't have the first-hand experience, but just from interviewing people over the years, I kind of get the sense that with Indiegogo, you kind of want to have your plan B in place for sure, because even if you get partially funded, those people are going to expect the game.
Exactly. I think
So that's a tricky thing you got to look out for.
Yeah, that's the fundamental difference between Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I mean, the reasoning behind Kickstarter is that you're trying to get this money because that's the money you need to finish the game, and if you don't get that money, you're not going to finish. So if you're not successful in your Kickstarter, you're not under obligation to finish because you're not going to.
But then wouldn't that put more pressure on the developer, which I believe we should have the pressure on us to provide that, oh, hey, you know what, you gave me some money, granted we didn't reach our goal, but I'm still going to crank this out because you gave me enough to continue on. Whereas Kickstarter, you go either way. You can continue the project out of pocket or...
Right. So basically, if you choose to go Indiegogo, then your campaign obviously isn't going to be something where you need all of the money to finish.
It might also depend on the scope of your game. Like if it's something where it's just you, or a couple people that are doing it as a passion, that might be a very viable option. But if it's something where you need the money to pay the artist, or you need the money to pay a music, voiceover talent, whatever, that may be less of an option. So that might be something you have to consider when you consider what platform you're going with. So let's talk about the money for a minute, because one thing I've always kind of wondered about these Kickstarters is, how do they know where to set the goal? Like, why are they asking for this much money? So let me ask, how much did you ask for, and why did you set the bar where you did? I know it's a tough question, but I think it's one everybody in this room's going to consider if they're going to Kickstarter or whatever it is.
So we were asking for $19,000, and the way that we came up with that figure, the main things that we were asking money for was for an artist and a sound designer and a musician. To do the art, the sound effects, and the music in the game. And so we figured out who we wanted to work with for each of those, and worked out how much they wanted for the work that we needed them to do. And so basically we had a quote from all of them, and so we added all that up, and then we added a little bit extra for to pay for. Like if you're doing physical rewards, like T-shirts, you're not making 100% profit off a T-shirt because you need to buy the T-shirt and sell it out or send it out. So you need to add that in, and then there's a little bit of cost if you do promotion and marketing, that sort of thing. But at least for me, the vast majority, probably I think it was about 70% of that $19,000 was specifically for that extra media that I needed for the game.
I have to tell you though, I'm glad you mentioned the rewards thing, because the number one thing I've gotten from people, I know a couple of people who made their goal and were like, it wasn't actually enough at the end of the day. And the number one reason why is we underestimated how much fulfilling the rewards was going to be. We forgot we would have to mail out these rewards and have to pay for postage or UPS or whatever it is. Or, we forgot this other detail about the reward that it sounded good in our head, but we didn't realize, so you really have to think about, I think, a lot of those rewards. We'll come back to rewards in a minute, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, just to add one thing. So, one thing I've noticed on Kickstarter, a lot of people will have T-shirts as a reward, and a lot of times the T-shirt level is ridiculously high. It's $70 for a T-shirt. Well, it's because they actually need to get money off that reward also.
True. And can I give you all some advice? I have so many T-shirts. Sell pants. Where was the bar? Where was the bar for you guys? And
So we asked for 10,000. So we were first. Oh, what was the? I don't know.
30,000.
Yeah, 30,000 for the first one.
interesting.
Yeah. I actually wasn't around for that first one.
Yeah.
No, wait. So 30,000 the first time, 10,000 the second time. Did you raise 10,000 the first time?
No, actually we didn't.
Okay. So I was curious. I was like, maybe they kind of do
I
where
would
they
bring that up. Actually, I guess I'll take it just because the 30,000 the first time we had broken up how much it would cost to kind of help us fund the crew that we were working with, and then we also wanted to account for the rewards that we were providing, and also just to we have an office, so we're office expenses, etc. So we had it all broken down. We had a pie chart that showed everybody what we were going to be spending it on. And, we didn't get anywhere near it. I think that's partially because the page itself wasn't adequate, but The second time we put it at 10,000 because there's also the amount you, okay, so when you do a Kickstarter, if you can raise, I think it's like a third of your money in the first week, it's very positive. People look very highly upon that. They're like, oh, that means it's going to be successful. So we did that. The second time, we put it way down there because I looked at some other companies, they were like, they made millions of dollars, but they set their goal at 10 grand. It's just because the faster they got to their goal, the faster people were like, oh, cool. And so we did the same thing. I took that as like, well, let's try to put it down at that level. And we ended up reaching our goal. It wasn't enough to fund everything that we had planned, but at the same time, it was enough to boost us along the way. So that was really good.
Yeah, I think that's also a really good point, is kind of like the psychological aspect behind what you set your goal at and how much money you're actually getting through every campaign.
Right. Yeah, and one of the big things that we considered, when you already brought it up, were the rewards. We wanted to make sure what we were offering, like, we could afford. You know?
Why are you laughing?
Because this was one of our rewards, and it was so damn difficult. So, it's worth it now. We've actually, I just got some last week. The rest of the shipment's coming probably this next week. But so we ordered a bunch of plushies, and we had them custom made for the game that we were making. We had a really great deal, and I mean, the shipping that's behind them was already, we accounted for that. But it's the cost of them, and the underestimation of the time that it would take to get them, and then everything that's involved with it. It ended up being a pretty penny, and I wish we hadn't. But at the same time, now we can say that we fulfilled it. We did it. You know what I mean? And everybody's going to get that.
You just got a bunch of hearts because of that little adorable thing right there. So well done, guys. Well done.
What's your name?
It's Cammy, so it's the robot for our game. And
Cammy, how cute.
Look at that. Look at that. Give me your hearts. Give me your hearts. Give me.
Put some hearts. Put some hearts on this one. Look at that.
Check. Give them some hearts too, right there.
Yes, Skirmish. Look at that. How cute.
So, but that's why we did it at the same time, because we knew that it would be something people would love. It would help with a little bit of publicity, and people would be like, oh, they're trying to do something really cool. So we pushed it. I don't know if I'd recommend this for every indie, but I mean, because it was really quite difficult. But if you have the means and the passion,
That's a unique shape. That can't be the easiest. It's not a round or a square plushie. It's a
Yeah. I reached out to a company that actually has our tag on there too for the company on here. So it was 100% custom, and but it's worth it because the likes and the hearts and stuff. People like that, and they see
people love cute things.
They do. They love cute things. We went to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, we went to PAX and GDC. We had it at GDC as well, and everyone would come by the booth and see that.
Like, oh, I want one of those. We do have them for sale though on our website at skirmishentertainment.com.
Oh, quick request. Just talk a little louder.
Okay.
Because the chat, you've got quite a few people in chat right now, but and you got a ton of more hearts because we asked for that. So thank you those who gave hearts. But yeah, so just let's talk it up a little bit.
We'll be kickstarting for some microphones for next time.
Hi everybody in Periscope.
I think
Welcome.
Brianna just passed out in the corner. Shut up!
Shut up! Guys, just do tangible.
No, we did.
Also?
We have soundtracks, we have posters, we had camis, we had T-shirts, we had all of that, but it was all accounted for, and we did our research prior to where we would execute on getting this, where we would get our T-shirts from that were a good deal, accounted for shipping and all that. It was a lot of planning. It wasn't like we were like, oh, we'll do this, and then we just put it up that we do it. We had to plan out how we would follow through with that.
You practically had to diversify to another company just to work all that out.
It was us. We just stopped making the game for a little bit to do it. Yeah.
How did you think up these rewards? I imagine that's got to be one way you can really stick out is the type of rewards you're offering. And I know we told a joke earlier about the T-shirts and everything that a lot of people are doing that, but yeah, how did you come up with these rewards that you did? Let me actually start with you, John.
So like I said, I was working with Indie Voyage, and they had helped with the Kickstarter previously, and they did a good number of physical rewards in that Kickstarter as well, and their experience with that, I would say, is similar to your experience, and they were like, it was kind of a nightmare getting the physical rewards. So one of the big recommendations they made was kind of stay away from physical rewards. So, I mean, like, one of the ones that I wanted to do was kind of a stuffed animal, but they're like, it's going to be a lot of work. So, I think we had one physical reward, which was T-shirt. And we knew the company that we wanted to have actually print them, that sort of thing. So And so beyond that, we just essentially focused on having the game itself as a reward, because I mean that's what they're here for. That's what we're promoting. So that was the main, and there were various levels for that. So there were a few different levels for getting the game, and then there were a few levels for helping with the development of the game. So you can like create your own creature in the game, create your own equipment in the game, that sort of thing.
I think people really like that too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I did the first Kickstarter I ever did was I'll tell you, it was the Shadowgate remake that they did. That was the first Kickstarter I pitched into.
Awesome.
Right? Who didn't love the 8-bit version that they had on the Nintendo, right? Which you know, I think it was like a Mac game or a PC game back
Yeah.
then. I remember they had
Something like that. I still own it.
Right?
So I still own
I can hear
it.
that music when the little Grim Reaper comes up. But anyway, and the big deal, the reason why I did it was to get my name in the credits. Because like I wanted to be my name in the credits of Shadowgate games. I love that game. Right? So I think people really are into that stuff. When they can like, I did that. You know, that's my name, that's my creature. We talked a little bit about your guys' rewards already, but was there anything that we didn't get to mention that for rewards that was something, you know, a little different that took you guys some time to come up with?
What was your most popular tier?
The candy tier. It was the tier that broke this barrier. That's the one that people got, I think, the most.
Interesting, because it was also your biggest pain
in the
you
butt.
know,
Yeah. So that one, there was also the early bird did really well. So we actually did the first, you know, certain amount of people got a cheap price than the cheapest price we had. You know what I mean? So there was like that right there. But something I would say I would recommend doing is look at the most successful games or whatever your Kickstarter for. I'm assuming games are here, but is look at the most popular ones. Look at what they're doing, and look at what kind of stuff they have, and then look at yourself and what you're capable of doing. There will be stuff there that you would not have thought of yourself, probably. So putting yourself, I mean, there would be, we have it so that there's an audio log in ours, credits, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that we got from other, just doing research, really.
Yeah. And what Rob was saying, like having that feeling that, oh, I'm a part of this game now. We did that with a couple of our rewards. So yeah, people got their names in the credits. Like you said, with the audio logs in our game, we allow people to actually write their own audio logs, and so they can find it in the game now and see that. Yeah.
And then they're going to tell all their friends.
Yeah.
So that they can show off themselves in the game.
It's funny because it's like the team that made the game, and then the backers. And the credits.
Any Kickstarter game's going to look like that at this point, though. I mean, it's so funny seeing them on console too, where it's like you can use left. What is it in? Is it Mighty Number 9 or Shovel Knight? One of those where you have to like page through the names because there's just so many names. Go back and forth. We have about 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure you guys have ample time for questions. I mean, I can make some more up, but you know, you guys are the ones that really need to know this stuff. So if you have more questions, please. Yes, sir. All right.
We've got to offer some items in our game that will actually carry over to multiple games with the person's name on it as like a unique item. Just because the digital coding part of that, as soon as they give me their name that they want on there, it's done, and then deliver it to their account. How much would you weigh that as value to a backer?
You mean a reward that will carry on to future games?
Like in something in the game.
We have a
that they
world
see.
that we're creating that's going to have a multitude of different games.
Okay.
So within there, if they have like something that you would click on that would give them like in-game bonuses or something, but they can find that somewhere in each game that we produce within this world. And if they help to start, help fund our Kickstarter or Indiegogo, whichever one we're choosing to use, that would carry over. In every game that we create within this world, they would find that.
Attached to their account.
That's
tough.
So it might be in the inventory, like Diablo had charms, or ruins or whatever, or it might be out in the world in like a tree they click on and get like in-game like currency or credits or resources or something.
Or a special building.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, if I was just to go to the site right now and look at it, I think if you already had a successful game and there's a new one coming out and I love that one and I want to do this one, it seems like that'd be more. I guess but they already have one. I'd love to do that in the second one, and then I can go back and play that one, and there will be future and there's proof and history kind of stuff. Maybe I don't know.
My question to you guys is, your Kickstarter, will it allow everyone who backs it to play all of the games that you guys are going to release, or is it only for like one specific game?
It's pretty much right now we've got it at the world level, so we've got a bunch of games in
us
Help us
start
create this world.
this world that we want to share with you.
Right,
So it's not just one, because once we get one or two games out of making money, then we'll have the money to be able to continue
And
making
right,
everything
now,
else.
actually, at the speed we.
I think it's a cool idea. What I was gonna say was if you just limited it to maybe one, like if you were gonna do your Kickstarter,
Starting off.
and they did that, you put it in that one world, I think it'd be a great incentive for people to play the other games or to purchase the other games because they know that their name is gonna be inside of all of these other games as well.
Yeah.
Is there a limited number of these customized items
No.
that you can create? And does it take very much time to create them?
As
It's
soon as I
just
get
like
their account.
inputting a name and stuff?
As soon as they create an account and it flags with their previous emails or previous account names.
Okay.
Start lining them up.
Would other people be able to buy these?
No, the Kickstarter's fulfillment.
I think what might be really good, and this is what we did for our early bird, and I think that's why it was one of our more popular tiers, was have a limit on it, even if you don't want a limit on it. Yeah, because people are going to see, oh, only 500 people can get this, and so I'm going to get it before that limit's capped. But you can, I believe, you can increase that limit, say if it does get capped, or you can create another
tier right after it with more, if it is really super successful.
From my perspective, just to butt in, because from my perspective as the guy who promotes a few of these, I think you want to be very, very careful though, especially if you don't have an established product, with inflating that cap. I think if you're going to have a cap, you should stick to that cap. And I think maybe when you do your second game, if you're going to kickstart this, oh, here's your chance now. You saw how fast we got into the first game. Here's your chance now to get in on it, and I think that's going to buy you a lot of value. I also kind of think, for something like that, the more people can feel attached to your world already, because if you don't already have a game out there, it's going to be a harder sell. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's going to be a harder sell because people are going to have a harder time imagining themselves in your world. So help them imagine themselves in your world. Do you have fan fiction, writing? Do you have pictures, art? Do you,
Create images with an example customized item in there.
So yeah, you need that little card, that little dotted cutout. Imagine yourself here, so that if somebody can imagine themselves there, and I think it's going to make themselves far more likely to go for something like that, because there are going to be those people on the internet that are going to kind of, I don't want to say they're going to see through it, but that in their perception's everything, right? Their perception is going to be, that's just a money-making thing they're doing there. There are going to be people out there, but if they can imagine themselves there, it's going to be a much easier
So
sell.
when you say imagine, you're just talking about the immersion, or you're talking like I can show you the gameplay and what it would look like in the game.
Even better,
Okay.
but
That would be even
I
better.
also realize that might be
even
easier.
something like a Photoshop screenshot as an example.
Or make a GIF in Photoshop of
Versus
versus.
yes.
Well, we can
Yes.
we
Yes.
already
Great.
have it, and we already have, this thing is almost ready to launch. We just need a better video and stuff. I mean, everything's there.
Yeah, if you're making your world, show me your world,
Yeah.
and make me want to visit it.
Okay.
How many times are you guys ready to just pour gasoline on it, light it, and walk out of the room?
Yeah.
Maybe we'd never do that.
Maybe just walk away.
It's kind of like, you spend so much time on it, and then you're already in it this deep. You can't stop now. You keep going, and
I think that's huge. Always follow through. Your word is your bond in this industry. If you say you're going to do something, just to finish it.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, certainly, if you have a successful Kickstarter, you gotta follow through with that.
And at the worst case scenario, you can add it as an in-game item. So destroy everything. The destroy everything bomb, and that's it.
You were talking a little bit ago about your worry about your reputation by asking for the money a second time. That's nothing compared to if you don't follow through the first time.
You'll never get a
Because then when you blast the journalist, one of them's going to dig it up and be like, I got some receipts you need to explain. So.
Those trolls we were talking about.
I've seen that on board games. I go to older Kickstarters and look through the comments and stuff, and people just get livid.
delivered.
Just be careful. Be careful. I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, so I had a question about your videos, I guess the trailers for your Kickstarters. So I'm not sure what your first video was, but I think the one for the successful Kickstarter was 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 2 minutes or something. How did you choose the content within that, and then you said you made it more flashy? Was that mostly just adding effects, kind of photoshopping some stuff, or is there more to it than that?
So I think it was a mixture. It was, the first one was just too long. We made it like 3 or 4 minutes, I think, and it was just like, the attention span of people on Kickstarter is like 30 seconds. So
That's good to know.
That's very good to know.
Perfect video I found.
no, yeah.
Kickstarter
If you make a
perfection.
video, if you make a video over 2 minutes, do not expect anybody to finish it. They won't. It's just the way
I
it is.
think 90 seconds and under is good.
Yeah, 90 seconds, a minute and a half. That's usually the target. I would say when we went into our second one, we really just compounded everything that we thought was most important to say, put it really well together as best we could, wrote up a little script. We read it once, trying not to memorize it so we look like we're memorizing, but we definitely, said it out loud a few times. And we were there for how many hours? Trying to
because we all are not really comfortable in front of the camera or anything like that. Just having to talk.
I would say make yourself as fun and as natural as possible. That's what people want, in my opinion. I mean, unless you have the money to create something super large.
Fun and natural.
Yeah. Quality video.
Maybe you know somebody, because I look at that and go, that is easy for me.
Yeah.
So, but if that's where networking is important. Find somebody who can do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be you, I don't think.
And if you know anybody that's in the production industry that does camera stuff, a lot of times if you know them, they'll help you out. I mean, I'd try it. We did it on camera, and we thought we had a little sound device recorder. I think it was a Zoom or something, and we didn't do it right, so we lost everything. And we ended up using the sound that was on the camera, and it wasn't that great, but it still did the job, and luckily. So, lesson learned, I guess.
I think that was a great tip, though, on the length of your video. I think that's a very, very important tip. That's just internet stuff in general. Do you know, I get so much crap all the time for having a 3-hour podcast. People do not have the time, and I'm like, that's not what I'm making it for, though. There is an audience that is looking for that. So, there is definitely short attention spans of the internet.
Yeah. In general, just to comment on that, it's really interesting because at least when I was doing research for my Kickstarter, it seemed like the majority of Kickstarter videos were 3 to 5 minutes, and it was, generally speaking, the people asking for the money on camera, talking to you, telling you why they need the money, which is definitely a significantly different approach than, say, a promotional trailer.
I would agree.
And so definitely for a promotional trailer, between 30 and 90 seconds all the way. For our Kickstarter video, we followed the 3 to 5 minutes, talking on camera with gameplay footage, that sort of thing. And our Kickstarter wasn't successful, so at least in creating the video that we had for our Kickstarter, we had some video production people help us. And they weren't really people that I knew personally. We had met them a month or so before the Kickstarter, and they seemed to be pretty good. But it turned out that we were just not on the same page in terms of what we were producing. And so I guess one of the pieces of advice that I would suggest is if you know a really good video producer that you work well with, that's really, really useful. And if you don't, go find somebody.
I would say
Start looking earlier than later.
Yeah.
Don't leave it to last minute.
There's a lot of college kids out there looking for
There are.
something to get their start. So.
And if you can get some sort of word of mouth recommendation, I think that's really useful.
One last thing on the video, I would look at other videos, look at where the camera's placed, look at how much of the person is visible, if they're talking to the camera or to someone else, what they're doing, the lighting, look at what's in the scene, you know what I mean? And try to replicate something that you feel really fits what you're doing.
Do you think there would be anything wrong with maybe doing 2 videos with the 2 different approaches, like a 90-second video that's the talking head plea, and another 90 seconds that's action, footage?
I'd say make a bunch and then pick your favorite. I mean, if you can, if you have the time and resources.
Or you can do that, do the talking as your main video, and then inside of the actual Kickstarter, where you're showcasing what the game looks like and everything like that.
Do you think you should do it that way or the other way around? 90-second video is your main one, and then talking video underneath that?
I would probably do the talking video first. That's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just off the top of my head, it seems like it would be the other way around. The get the short, flashy one to bring you in.
Yeah.
Get a book, so I know it's just gonna see it talking.
I would agree with that, but I don't know the other
But-
feel like that.
Yeah,
I'm not a marketer.
You know what? But my advice: bring someone in who's going to give you an honest opinion. Don't bring in your friend that's going to tell you, "Oh yeah, that looks great on you," when it doesn't. What's that?
Do not ask your family or friends. You need to ask strangers because the people are going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, and that's why I think networking with places like this is great. You know, if you show something to your peers, they'll give you the straight feedback. That's why joining your local IGDA is great.
I have a question for both of you, both teams, Arclight. What percentage would you say Ventureforth was when you completed the Kickstarter and applied for it?
In the Kickstarter, we were saying that the game was about like 80% done. It's close to maybe about 60.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for us,
First and second time, I guess, would be.
yeah, I mean, the first time, I think it was still,
It was hard to find art.
yeah, I mean, we're still at kind of very early the first time. Second time, we're definitely more, I would say, I mean, looking back at it now, I would say we're probably at about 40-50%, just because since we're gearing towards the end of development now, we've added so much to the game in this last month that we feel like it's added so much more to the game that it like boosted us. Like now, yeah, it's already completed, but we're in the bug testing phase now. But yeah, but yeah, I'd say about 40-50% when we did it.
And that's the second one for the success?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's as long as you have something, you know, to show. If you have the core like gameplay implemented and it looks awesome, go for it. Like the more you can show, the better.
I'd say also pay attention to the fine details because if you're taking a screenshot, you know, most people will just put that in there because they think it's a good screenshot. But if you look at most, they don't include the UI or the heads-up display. They don't include that stuff, so you have to like crop that out. Otherwise, it's repetitive. And so it's little things like that. You wouldn't even really think about that. It wasn't until I talked to somebody who was like, "You got to cut out all that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And we did, and I think it made a difference. The little things add up.
We just have a few minutes left, but any other questions from you guys? All right. Well, before we wrap up, I'll get. Oh, you got it.
No, I was asking him if he was done asking
Well, I don't think they're going to run right out the door when this is done. So if you get something after the fact, you can certainly say hi. But let's kind of, I guess, wrap up on this. Let's just have a couple of minutes left. Biggest piece of advice you're going to give to somebody that is looking to get involved in the Kickstarter or whatever the funding is. I mean, there's other choices as well. Biggest number one piece of advice to leave with tonight.
I guess just take it seriously. It's going to be a lot of work and probably at least a month, if not more, preparation beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, to follow suit with what he said, definitely do a lot of research. Research all of the Kickstarters out there that have been successful and see what they did right, and just kind of take the time before you even do the Kickstarter. Take, I would say, even three months at least to really flesh out your entire Kickstarter and how you're going to present it. Because you know, if you're asking people for money, it's hard to get people to just give you money. You have to give them a good reason to help you make your game. And so with enough research and enough just kind of having everything organized before you even launch it, I think that'll really help.
I think a part of it too, man, so many. One part to put it on one. But I mean, it would be honest with yourself. Look at your stuff and then look at other stuff that's successful and be like, am I on par with this? Am I also telling my story? You know, am I being honest to who I am? Am I being honest with what I can fulfill? Am I, you know, is this really beautiful or do I just think it's good because I've been working so hard on it? You know what I mean? Like, kind of stuff. And that's real. It's just, so.
Yeah, definitely also get feedback from other people as well.
I reiterate that people you don't know. Because there was a video the first one we made, we asked people, they're like, oh yeah, that's great. We showed it to one person who didn't know. He's like, I wouldn't Thanks. And it's gonna hurt, like especially. And one last thing, I guess, for me would be if you don't make it, don't think that's like the end of the world. Most people don't make it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean what you're doing like not worth it. You know, you just gotta try and try again. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and also, don't be afraid to reach out to other successful developers. 9 times out of 10, they will respond back. You know, they have their contact information. You can go to their website or whatever. Ask them questions on, you know, why or what did you guys do to kind of prepare for a successful Kickstarter. Definitely reach out to people.
I would say even if they weren't successful, any advice is good advice.
Yes.
All right, well, let's give our panelists a big hand. One more plug, just for the sake of interwebs, Venture Forth. This is something that's out now that we can check out or still in development?
It's currently on Steam Early Access, and we're planning on releasing hopefully by the end of October. So very
That's soon. Good luck. Good
Awesome.
luck. So Venture Forth on Steam Early Access. And
End of the Mind
End of the Mind
is so we're greenlit on Steam, and we will be launching October. So
oh boy, crunch time for both of you.
Yes.
Yeah, well, good luck. You'll be in our thoughts.
yeah.
All right. Before we wrap it up, Gabe, any final words you want to?
No, I mean, you know, hi to everyone watching. Hello. So for those who tune in the Periscope, thank you guys so much. And we appreciate the tons of hearts. There were a ton of hearts the past like 2 minutes, so really good stuff. But I'm really proud of you guys. Seriously, not just as a chapter head for this awesome capital, tiny capital of this massive state.
It's not tiny. Didn't you hear we have a new arena?
What? Someone with a championship to get an arena? What? Wait. Other topic. Anyway, so but seriously, I'm really proud of you guys, and I myself am fueled by the obstacles that you have faced and overcome, because it reminds me that whatever I come across and whoever causes it, be it of my own doing or someone else or just life, I'm gonna push forward, and things are gonna get done. So I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm happy to hear that October is going to be a pretty big month for you guys. October may be a month for me too. We'll see. Crossing fingers, but seriously, yeah, and for those watching on the Periscope, if you don't believe you can, I hope tonight convinced you otherwise, because you really can. You really, really can, and we are here to provide whatever guidance and empowerment that we can. So, and
not just the internet, all you that drove out here too.
Yeah, all these awesome guys that came out here today. Woo, woo. Yes, guys and gals. Yes, I love it. So, yes. Oh, of course. Add one more thing, please.
A huge part of indie is like networking. Like we've been to PAX, we've been to GC, and if it wasn't for going to those things, we wouldn't have a lot of the connections that we have now. And this applies to everybody here. If you ever need me, just send me an email. I'll do my best to help out.
Absolutely. Networking, don't be afraid. As they said earlier, don't be afraid to reach out to other developers, especially if you're around here in Sacramento. Please, we're on Meetup, meetup.com/game developer. Find us. And yeah.
Everybody's on Twitter.
Yeah, everyone's on Twitter. So, Ben and Bree, you have something to say?
I would like to say something. So I want to congratulate and thank everybody who came out tonight. I know it's the middle of the week, and a lot of you came from very far, far away. Thank you so much to our studios for taking the time and being transparent with not only the people in our co-working space, but the people online too. There was a lot of love being shown on Twitter. So when you get back to checking your stuff, I hope you got some new follows. Push out the games that are coming out. Please feel free to reach out to us, and that goes for everyone here. I've gotten to know you over the last 3 years or so. I remember seeing Jeremy's game at the very first SAC Indie Arcade. I have goosebumps right now just talking about it. So to see where our community is going and to have wonderful indie podcasters also pouring in and showing the love, I'm so excited for you guys. Coming up at the end of October, our indie game studios also have another chance to showcase what they've been working on. I know Bite Me Games will be there. This is going to be at the Vampire Ball. It's a 21 and up Halloween party at the California Automobile Museum. So if you don't have a game ready yet, but you want to come out and party, come join us there. It's going to be a Lost Boys type setting. So our game developers are acting as the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, essentially. Chicken and Bits will also be there. Nascent Games will be there.
We have somebody singing Cry Little Sister?
They're probably they're going to be acrobats and fire breathers, so it's going to be really exciting. So my whole job in this is to really expose you guys to other areas and other things where game developers probably would not go. So keep us posted. I am happy to write blogs, tweet you out, whatever I got to do to show the love. So if you have a press release that's going out, copy me. So that's all I got to say.
Cool.
Well, speaking of networking, I think we have until 8 o'clock to just mingle a little bit. And
Yeah. We'll hang out for a little bit, but we'll say goodbye to those on the Periscope. Well, we're gonna have the after hours parts. So
secrets.
Big secrets. Shh. But thank you guys again. Once again, one last round of applause, guys. Seriously. All right, guys. All right, so we're going to mingle on for just a little bit longer, and check us out again soon. And once again, follow us on Twitter, IGDA_Sacramento. Keep supporting the little guys. We all want to shine, so we can't do it without you all. So have a great night, guys. Thank you all again so much. We're out. Sweet. All right.